What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Welcome to Trust Me, Bro. How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
And I'm doing great.
Nice.
Just watched another Broncos game in prime time. Is that three primetime games they've had so far this year? I think week one they were Monday Night Football, right? And then they had a Thursday night game, and now this debacle tonight, right?
I think they should be a permanent Thursday night team.
Right? Yeah, watching them play is about as
Yeah.
exciting as watching grass grow. This is disgusting football. Yeah, this is not at all what people thought when they drafted Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton.
Nope.
Yeah, these guys just are not gelling, not meshing, not.
Yeah.
It's just not working, man.
They're not good, brother. Not
Nope.
good.
Not
It's
at
not
all.
entertaining. Most Thursday night games have been crap this year, and I
Yep.
think they should be a staple on Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, just a good one to put you to
Change that
sleep.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the picks. I'll go ahead and start, if you don't mind, with my first running back pick, and I'm going to go ahead and do a humble brag on this one, Craig. So here I was, sitting there over the weekend, wondering who I should pick up for my running back spot. I had Derrick Henry out on a bye this week, and so I was looking for a running back to plug in, and I picked up Carter from the Jets, and I was, staring, down the barrel of having to play Carter, and I wasn't liking it, so I wasn't very comfortable with it. And so some news came across the wire that the Colts running back was going to be Dion Jackson because it looked like JT was out, and so was, I think it was Hines, I believe, Naheem Hines.
Yeah.
And so both of those guys were out. And so I decided to take a flyer on Dion Jackson. So I picked him up on Saturday, and he balled out for me. So I went ahead and played him. I started him. He had 12 rushes for 42 yards and a tutty. And the good part was he had 10 targets, caught all 10 of them for 79 yards, put up just a phenomenal fantasy day. I think he got me about 28 points. And so Dion Jackson, he's my lead running back for this week waiver wire. Only 43% owned. Whether or not he's going to get another chance at it, another situation this coming week is, only time will tell. We'll have to keep an eye on the injury reports as the week progresses and see if JT's back at it or even if Dion Jackson is hurt. I know he took a shot towards the end of the game and went out for a bit, so whether or not he's going to come back. But this to me was an excellent lottery ticket that happened to pay off.
Yeah. Nice pickup, man. Nice pickup for sure.
Thank you. I ended up winning that league. I think I scored 184 points in that league, so it all worked out.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic, man. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. The sustainability of somebody like that. Probably not a whole lot. Once Taylor and Hines get back, but till then, might as well ride the wave, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Matt Ryan was looking pretty good that game too. I think he was the number 2 overall fantasy quarterback right behind Burrow. So he was able to keep the defenses honest.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be getting figured out, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the only one I have, and this is kind of above our threshold, but Cam Akers looks to be getting traded.
Yep.
So you got to be looking at Darrell Henderson. He's owned in 69% of the leagues. A little above our threshold, like I said, but there's still 31% of the leagues out there where he's still available. So I would be taking a rush at him. Only 43 yards for a touchdown this week, but hey, he's going to be lead back.
Yep, I like it. I actually picked him up in 2 leagues over the weekend.
Yeah.
Once I saw the news of Cam Akers, I think maybe the news came across Friday. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday, but when I saw that weird news about him being out for a personal reason and then Sean McVay wouldn't commit to him, being back with the team, at all. And so to me, that was, a rush out and get Henderson. So that's exactly what I did. I picked him up in 2 leagues. Didn't start him. I actually started Jeff Wilson over him. Big mistake. I think Wilson got me 1 point, and Henderson would have gotten me at least 14. So Wish I would have played him, but I did play him in one league, but not another one. So, but yeah. Good pickup.
Yeah, he's one to look for.
All right, so that's all you got for running backs. I've got let's see, 3 more. I'll go ahead and go through them quickly here. First one was Mike Boone, and we just watched him play tonight, and it was interesting to see Melvin Gordon phased out. I did happen to notice, I believe it's Troy Aikman say that he's been demoted to third string on the team. I don't know if that means for tonight or rest of the season going forward. Boone didn't really, get that many carries tonight. It kind of looked like the Latavius Murray show. So I'm really not as confident in Mike Boone, right now, this moment, as I was when I wrote this name down earlier. But he is only 41% owned. The previous game to tonight, haven't checked his stat line because the game's just wrapping up. But it looks like he had, the previous game from last week, he had 7 rushes for 38 yards, 3 grabs on 3 targets for 47 yards, which was impressive. Almost hit that century mark in total yards combined. So he's somebody to take a look at if you're really desperate at running back.
Yeah, he's kind of on my wait and see list. The fact that they went out and made a trade, I didn't know about it. I was texting you earlier. I didn't know that they traded for Latavius Murray, but
yeah, yeah, I think Murray actually was cut. I think they got him off a couch. That's what I think they got him from. So yeah, I'm just never really excited about a guy coming off a couch, and thinking that he's going to be able to light it up in the fantasy world. So
yeah, they seem to give him the ball a lot though. So I don't know. I mean, Mike Boone's one of those that if you're desperate, let's maybe wait and see.
Yeah,
watch him. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't be spending a waiver wire pick on him. But,
nope.
Maybe Wednesday morning, wake up. If he's out there and I got a space, I'll take him.
Yeah, exactly. He could be a good leftovers, especially if the bye week's coming up. May be able to fill some holes there for you.
Yeah.
All right. So my next waiver wire pick is James Cook. Plays for the Bills, 27% owned. What got my attention this past weekend was noticing that Zach Moss was inactive. And so that means he's the clear-cut number 2. Yeah. If something does happen to Singletary, I could see James Cook, getting the rock and rolling. His brother obviously is fantastic. So I think he's going to have a really good career over the years. But if he does get a chance this year, I mean, who knows, man? He may end up being a baller. So good to have, on the end of your bench.
I mean, I like that one. I like stashing that one for in a keeper league, because I'm not thrilled with Singletary. Like that guy's he's always the one that looks like he gets the ball. You're watching the game. You're like, okay, yeah, I should have played him. And then he's good for like 2 10 to 20 yard runs. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely not leaning on him. Right.
Yeah. So if the Bills don't make any move, if they don't go trade for McCaffrey, if they don't go trade for, somebody like that, I think it could be a good stash.
Yeah. I do too. I like Cook, and definitely not somebody you want in your roster or in your starting lineup right now. But into bench, just leave him there and wait for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last running back is the Drake, Kenyan Drake, Ravens, only 5% owned. This past weekend, he had 10 rushes for 119 yards plus a tutty. It just seemed to look like, the starting running back for the Ravens. What's his name right
Dobbins.
now? What's that?
Dobbins.
Yeah, Dobbins. Yeah, it looked like he looks like he got hurt during the game. I think his knee buckled on him. I think it's what I read in one of the reports. So if that's a problem moving forward and he's out for week 7, then Drake may get an opportunity here. We've seen the Drake show before. He always kind of flashes here and there. Whether or not it's sustainable, we don't know. I mean, even earlier this season, to start the season, I think they were rolling with Drake, and he really wasn't all that impressive. But you never know with this guy. So I mean, if you if you really need a fill-in for a running back, and he happens to start in week 7, you could probably do worse.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of one of those that I came out of the weekend thinking, we'll see. Could be one of those that people chase, But like you said, if Dobbins can be out for a little bit, he might be worth it. But yeah, I feel like we've gone down that Drake road before.
Yeah.
We buy in. Stock's high. We jump in and ride it on down. So we'll see. I looked at him thinking, I'm not sure if that's one I buy in on. Yep. Yeah.
Hey, bud, you back? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, looks like we lost you there for a second.
No problem, man. Froze up.
All right. So hit me with your first wide receiver pick.
Let me hit you with this one. I've got another one on this list that a little bit over our threshold again.
Uh-huh.
But one I think you should go get. I'll hit you with it. Chase Claypool.
Okay.
61% owned, so he's a little bit above, but 39% still out there. I think it's time to go get him. He had 7 grabs for 96 yards and a tutty. 16 targets in the last 2 games. So that always tells us something. And especially with Pickett coming in, they're always looking for that receiver that they can go to that can be their safety net. And Claypool's making some good grabs, So I think he's one to go take a look at if he's out there in your leagues.
Yeah, I like it. I actually had him written down as well. The source that I looked at earlier today had him at 41% owned, so he was actually under the 50% threshold. And I also wrote down that same stat: 16 targets over the past 2 games, 12 grabs, 146 yards plus a tutty. I also saw some news today that Kenny Pickett came into the game and Mariota was benched. It looks like he had an issue with Deontay Johnson during the game when Pickett came in at halftime. I think the two of them got into a shouting match in the locker room. And so if that means that the two of them have some bad blood, that means, a lot of these targets may end up being funneled over to Chase Claypool and to Pickens. So yeah, good pickup there. I think he's, got some potential rest of season. I could see him turning it on. I mean, we both remember his rookie season where he just kind of came out of nowhere and just lit it up. So those games are potential for him.
I agree.
All right. So my first wide receiver pick today, Craig, is Michael Gallup, Cowboys. Exactly 50% owned. Only had 7 targets with 2 grabs for 18 yards. However, Dak is coming back. I think he'll be back for week 7, and we both know what that means. And so I think that Gallup has a lot of potential here to look really good for the second 2/3 of this season.
I like it. I agree. I mean, Cooper Rush trying to force the ball in there a lot last night, and he wasn't coming away with the grabs, but I think with Dak coming back, he's got twice the opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. It was an ugly game last night. It seemed like every single time the ball left Rush's hands, it would be touched by a defender of the Eagles. Yeah. Whether that's tipped at the line or batted down or intercepted by a corner or a safety. Yeah, the Eagles were all over it. I mean, that defense was just lights out last night. So, I mean, you're going to have some games like that. So,
yeah, he still gets some looks, though.
Yeah, I think even with Dak, it would have been the same result. So,
yeah, I agree with you. Cool. Well, wide receivers is one that I've got a few on my list on. Ben Skoranek is another one.
I looked at him today. I thought about that.
hey, he's owning 1%, 1.1% of the leagues. You know, it's nobody. Every time I watch the Rams,
Yeah,
it's him.
He's getting hit. You're right. I think that 1% is his family and his friends.
Yeah, some good buddies of him, college roommate, whatever. Yeah, no, I'm with you. But hey, he's getting the ball.
Yeah, I agree. He's seeing the targets, and so is Higbee. He's seeing a ton of targets too. So I mean, it looks like Stafford has eyes for him and for Higbee and of course Kupp. So
I mean, he's been double digits the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the route tree for targets in that particular team. All right, so next up, I've got Rondell Moore with the Cardinals, only 46% owned. Last 3 games, he saw 23 targets with 16 grabs for 128 yards. What actually, moved me to put him on this list and to pull the trigger on Rondell Moore is that Hollywood's hurt. He went out with I believe he's got it wasn't a broken leg, but it looks like he's going to be out for about 6 weeks. And so we do have D-Hop coming back to soak up some of those targets that were going to Hollywood, but I think Rondell Moore will still eat.
Yeah.
Should be a productive fantasy player.
Yeah, I've been waiting for D-Hop to come back. Got him on one of my squads, and
nice.
We'll see. I think he'll eat up some of it, and then looks like Robbie Anderson was just traded there, so
saw that.
We'll see that too. But I think there's some continuity there with Rondell Moore. So I mean, we're the flyer,
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, with the amount of targets he's been seeing, 23 targets in the last 3 games. I mean, that's pretty good. So if that continues, opportunities there.
Yeah. I agree. Well, here's another one for you, Alec Pierce.
Okay, very good. I had him down too.
Yeah, 25% owned. He had another good game for him. He had 3 for 49 and a touchdown. 6+ targets in the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's looking good. Yeah, I also had him written down. I had him at 38% owned. I think I've been using Yahoo for my source, and you must be going with ESPN. I don't think you have any leagues on Yahoo. But yeah, I agree. Last 2 games, 16 targets, 11 grabs, 130 yards, and a tutty. So he's definitely coming on strong. So that's a good one.
Yeah, definitely getting the looks.
Very good.
What else you got?
That's it. That was my 4th. Alec Pierce was my 4th wide receiver as well. So we got him covered. You got any other wide receivers? Or are we good there?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. So I do have one tight end that I wrote down. That's always a tough position to pick up somebody. As we've covered in many of our broadcasts so far. I wrote down Robert Tonyan from the Packers, 42% owned. This past game, Rodgers was really honing in on him. 12 targets, he caught 10 of them for 90 yards. And so if he can even see a 2/3 or equal to that production, or as far as that attention from Rodgers moving forward. I know that Aaron Rodgers isn't very comfortable with the receivers he's got, and so he was leaning on Tonyan. And if that continues, I think that this could be a good tight end for you.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think we will see that. I had him down too. Randall Cobb's out.
Yep.
Looks like we'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks at least, if not more. So, hey, Rodgers is going to need somebody to go to. I think Tonyan's the guy. Yeah,
I think so too. That's a good one. That's the only tight end I wrote down. The rest on the waiver wire, just, I don't know, man, just garbage. I didn't see anything else. You got anything else on tight ends?
No, that's it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have a quarterback for us today?
I got one. I feel like this guy's heating up. And we talked about him earlier. Matt Ryan, he went 389 for 3 TDs.
Nice.
He's got some decent matchups coming up. He's got Tennessee next game. I believe it's Arizona after that. Maybe I could be wrong there. He scored 23 points against Tennessee last last time we matched up with him. So, I feel like he's heating up. He's getting a little more comfortable with his weapons. I think he can be a good shot.
Yeah, I liked it. I definitely liked the last game. That his performance, he was on fire, and so hopefully that continues. Yeah, that could be a good bye week fill in, or even if you're really struggling at quarterback, he could be a solution. Yep, good one. Okay, so I'm going to recycle one that you brought to the table last week, Jimmy G for the 49ers. I actually did pick him up in one of our leagues. Because my quarterback is on a bye next week, and so I have Hurts, and he'll be on a bye next week, and so I'm going with Jimmy G for the 49ers, 39% owned. He has about 20 fantasy points over each game for the past 3 weeks, and so and that's what I look for. I mean, if I can get at least 20 out of a quarterback, especially for a bye week fill-in situation, I'm happy. I'll be happy with 20 points from him. I mean,
I would too.
That's carrying the load. So, yep. Any other quarterbacks?
Nope, I'm good. That's it.
All right. Okay. So, here we are. We're in fact officially 6 games in. This is an 18-game season, so we're at the 1/3 mark right now. And so I just kind of wanted to reflect and look back, at some of these people some of the names that I brought to the table. And I've gone back and taken a look to see, which of these players, actually brought something to the table, and which players, would actually be useful to all 0 of our listeners. And I figured that Greg Dortch was pretty good. He had. And we recommended him in week 1. And, after week 1, he had 2 games with over 16 points. And then he had 3 duds in a row. So, if you picked him up, between week 1 and week 2, you would have had 2 good games of production out of him. And then I also recommended Jamal Williams for the Lions in week 1. And since then, he's had, two games under 10 and then 2 games in the mid-20s. And so kind of a mixed bag there. Also brought Jeff Wilson to the table in week 1. Since then, he's had 4 straight double-digit fantasy point games and 1 stinker. And so there you go. There's 80% of the time or games, you'd be happy to have him in there.
Yeah.
Also brought Devin Duvernay to the table in week 1. Since then, he's had 3 double-digit games. One with 9 points. Very close, a 9.6 game. And then he also had, 1 stinker with 2.4 points. We also brought Curtis Samuel to the table. I remember hearing you mention his name with the Commanders. Week 1, and since he had 3 double-digit games, 1 over 20, and then 2 stinkers under 10. And so he's somebody that people could work with.
Yeah.
We also recommended Taysom Hill for the Saints in week 1. And since then, he's had, 3 stinkers under 10 and 1 38-point explosion. And so if you were, lucky enough to play him for that 38-point explosion, you would have had yourself a hell of a tight end that week.
Yeah. We need your crystal ball for that.
What's that?
Need your crystal ball for that one.
Exactly. So, I don't really know if that really constitutes a hit, that recommending Taysom Hill. Don't know, but jury's still out. We'll see. But we also recommended Jimmy G. We're still recommending him here today. But ever since week 2, he's had 3 games over 20, just like we already talked about. Jared Goff, we recommended him back in week 2. Since then, he's had 2 stinkers, a bye, and then a 44-point game. So similar to Taysom Hill, if we happened to have played him in that 44-point game, we would have been very happy that game. And so we also talked about Josh Reynolds back in week 4. He's had 4 games with double-digit fantasy points, 2 over 15 and 1 over 20, and then 1 dud. So he's been a pretty solid, reliable receiver. We talked about George Pickens in week 4. Since then, he's had 1 game over 10, which was a 14 points, and then 1 dud. And so the luster's kind of fading on him, but we'll see as the season progresses.
Yeah, we'll see.
Geno Smith for the Seahawks. We talked about him back in week 4. Since then, he's had a 24-point game and a 12-point stinker. So kind of a little bit of each. And then finally, we had Ken Walker III for the Seahawks. We talked about him last week. So since then, he had a game, this yesterday with 21 carries for 97 yards and a tutty. So anybody who was lucky enough to get him off the waiver wire is probably feeling pretty comfortable with him in his outlook rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I think with all that, it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to go out in the waiver wire and pick the next one that's going to carry you through. I do believe Geno Smith he's looking good this season. I think he's one I've had him on my recommendations a couple times, and I stick with it. Kenneth Walker, I think he's a real deal.
Yeah.
He's going to be out there for a while. Penny's not coming back for a while.
No, he's IR, done for the season. So
yeah, he's done for the season. So I think Kenneth Walker's gonna be a good one to ride. I'm looking back through Duvernay. Yeah, he's one that I think he'll consistently get you points. I think Jimmy G will. I was kind of looking through some of the recommendations, and some have been hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Everett, about every other game he'll get you decent points, and after that, not so much. So, I mean, that's what we do. We watch football. We try and pick the guy that's going to be the next, next one in line to get the carries or get the catches. It's a tough thing to do.
It sure is. Yeah, like you just said. I mean, we're basically looking at a dumpster. We're looking for a diamond in a dumpster. So yeah, exactly. One man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Yeah. So that's what we're doing. We're dumpster diving. We're looking for some gems down there. It's so out of the players that I brought to the table, 12 of them, I consider, decent players, and then 21 duds. So that's a 36% hit rate. Yeah. So, not exactly the
baseball. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So in baseball, if you're hitting, 360 batting average, you're doing pretty good.
You're in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So that's what we're doing here. We're just trying to find, what we can out there. And so, moving forward, I'm going to try to, not talk about players that I consider these flash in the pan type players that, that happen to blow up for 1 week. And I'm going to try to steer away from those type of players and not even bring them to the table until I see some consistency. Because off a waiver wire, I think if we can get, guys that consistently get us double-digit points, that's good. I mean, it's good for your lineup. The players that I put, or it's good for your roster, let's put it that way. The players that I put in my starting lineup, I want to have, a pretty solid belief that they're going to get me 20 or above. That's what I'm really shooting for, is 20 or above for running backs and wide receivers and, of course, the quarterback, maybe even the tight end. Depending on how good of a tight end that might be. But, of course, kickers and defenses, you're really not expecting 20. But anything over double digits, I think you're going to be happy with.
Yeah, I agree. As long as you have 4 players that consistently get you over 20,
yep,
you can fill in the rest.
Right.
I truly believe that. And I'm with you, but it's tough. It's tough to look at the waiver wire every week and see somebody that's going to get you 20 points every game. It's just...
It's hard. It's hard
to
find.
There.
It's right.
Definitely wasn't there this week.
No, not at all. It's unrealistic to think that you're going to find, somebody off the waiver wire that you're just going to plug in and get 20 points a week from here on out, for the remaining 12 games. Yeah. So, probably just not going to happen. But I do have my eye on a few players that I'm going to bring to the table next week. I think it's a little early for me to bring them up this week, but I'm going to bust them out next week. And I think you'll like a few of them.
Cool. I'll be looking forward to it, man.
Yes, sir. And then also next week, we will talk about our credentials as far as our trophies that we've won over the years. And we'll go into detail into the years that we've won championships. And, make sure to go on that way.
Yep. Let's show out, brother.
Yes, sir. All right, my brother. Well, good talking with you again tonight, and good luck with your fantasy squad. So anyway, before we close out, how'd you do this weekend?
2-2, man.
2-2. Okay.
2-2. I squeaked one out tonight, dominated one, got dominated, and then had another little. I ended up on the wrong side of it, but
yeah, I ended up 3-1. So
3-1. Okay,
yeah.
Nice. Better than last week, then. Man.
Yeah, last week I was 0-for. So yeah, I'll take it. But I'm averaging about 2 and 4 in multiple leagues. So it's not a hot start at all. So I got my work to do here on this waiver wire.
Yep, that's why we're here.
Yes, sir. All right, Greg. Well, have a good night, and we will be watching the games Thursday night and all weekend, and we'll be back at you next Monday night.
Cool. All right, man. I'll see you there.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.